pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagadguru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to the Purva Acharyas. And I pay my obeisances to the 12 alvas of the Sri Ramanuj Sampradaya. I welcome all of you here physically at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that's watching this discourse on live feed, locally, nationally, and internationally. And I welcome those in advance that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted in YouTube and the various groups from around the world. Our topic, the three Gunas, continues. But before that, I just want to say, I was discussing with Mataji last night, and I think for the very first time since I started this mission, myself and Mataji sat in a formal meeting in relation to this mission. And I was not happy that she was going to have an op, because I do not favor medical science. And then she convinced me, and this is what struck a deep compassion in me for Mataji, in that, notwithstanding the treatment that I have given her since I started this mission 6 years ago, I always undermined her, and I always put devotees above her. Whether devotees were right or devotees were wrong, I did not give Mataji I did not allow her to express herself. I subdued her, and I've noticed over the past 6 years, although I put her in a position of a slave, her compassion for this mission have not diminished 1 inch. And her excuse for having this operation was that if she does not undergo this operation, then she is going through menopause, and by her being ill or menstruating irregularly, she cannot fulfill her part of this mission. She does not want to be absent for 1 second in the pursuance of this mission. And she stated that in the past years, this phase of menopause, she has to stay away 3 or 4 days at a time from the ashram proper, and she does not want to lose those 3 or 4 days. Also, what struck a deeper chord is that I've stated previously, and I'm stating again, that when we were awarded this mission by my spiritual master, we were in the midst of a flourishing business. And it saddens me today, and it also gives me great confidence in Mataji, that if this happened 7 years ago, she would have went in the best hospital for this procedure. because we had to relinquish all our material opulences, she had to go to a government hospital today. Happily, she is ecstatic. She is happy to go in a government institute, and she made sure she leave 120 rand with me for the maid for Monday. Okay? And this is the commitment Mataji has made. For this mission. Her commitment is absolute. She told me that after the operation, well, her medical advisor is Rita. Where's Rita? Okay, Rita is right here in the front. Her medical advisor is Rita, and Rita told her that she will have to be in bed for 6 weeks. And there will be pain because Rita herself underwent the same operation. Okay? And she said she rather sacrifice 6 weeks of pain and spend the rest of her life serving Lord Narayan and Guruji than not have this operation or wait for enough money to have this operation in a private hospital. For those of you, I've had thousands of devotees coming through the system. For those of you that do not know. And I kept Mataji under those devotees at all times. And those of you that are here, that are present as well. I have suppressed her in the 6 years because I did not want anyone to state that this mission was a family mission. And it's not a family mission. But when there is great courage in forwarding any mission, then we have to give credit. And I'm giving credit to Mataji, which I don't normally do. I know her since Standard 9. I am 57. We met in school. Our life, I was an atheist. Standard 9, I was an atheist. Mataji was divine. I stopped her from chanting her mantras. I stopped her from lighting a lamp in the house. And we never had a happy marriage, which led in a divorce. And Mataji and I were divorced for 10 years. We got back together after 10 years in 2006. 2008 we met Guruji. After meeting Guruji, our life has not been happier. Our life has not been happier. Because we now had a common substratum. And if you trace Guruji backwards, he landed in Lord Narayan. And if you got God in your life in marriage, nothing can move you. As demonstrated by our practical lives ourselves. When we had no God, when I was an atheist, I had a lot of money, but that money meant absolutely nothing. I had societal status, that too meant absolutely nothing. Today we have no money. I have no societal status, but we are in absolute bliss that today she could jump in a car and go with one little bag of clothes to hospital to have an operation. And I have full confidence that Guruji himself will perform the operation. Total 100% confidence. And I've told you all this once before, that the only person that can twist Guruji's hand is not even me, is Mataji. If she has to come in the front and ask Guruji for anything, consider it done. Okay? And I'm not saying this in tribute to Mataji. This is a lesson for everyone that wants to get attached to God and Guru. This is the ultimate sacrifice. This is the ultimate sacrifice. Remember, we cannot enjoy our children. We cannot enjoy our grandchildren because they are in contradiction. Their living style is in contradiction to what we are practicing and preaching. So we had to make a collateral sacrifice so that we could push this mission forward. Okay? So that is why we had to play the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, because Mataji is not here to sing. She's not here to sing. Right? And I don't think for a while now. And then Boya decides not to come to Satsang today. So we left with Chris and Sita. And I see whenever Sita sings, then Chris is fumbling with his Nal. Because Chris is playing at F sharp and Sita is singing at Z cube. So I decided just to play the Vishnu Sahasranam. Okay? Have you heard of the Vishnu Sahasranam? It's 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. Okay? So how many of you heard of the Mahabharata, or the story of the Mahabharata, or the word Mahabharata? Besides Dana, nobody else? Okay. Dana and Chris. Chris heard of the Mahabharata, and Chris is from Malawi. Alright? Yes? Yeah, most of my people never hear of the Mahabharata in Durban. Alright? So the Mahabharata is history. What does history mean? Sita, you can get out your phone today. I need you to find, I'll need you to define as we move along. What is the meaning of history, Robin? It means it actually happened in the past. So the Mahabharata for many years have been considered to be a myth. What is a myth? Fairy tale. Okay. So today, man is influenced by material consciousness. Man is, if you live in the material universe, then the influence is material consciousness, and from material consciousness evolves material scientist. Evolves material scientist. So if I explain Sanatana Dharma with material science, it will be acceptable. If I explain Sanatana Dharma as it is, as a supreme science, then it will be regarded as a myth. So the mind needs a crutch. The material mind needs a crutch through material science to understand supreme science. You understand? And it is only for this reason that I'm going to use material science, so that your mind can use it as a crutch to understand supreme science, because material science is relative and I cannot use relative science to corroborate supreme science. It will defeat the objects of calling supreme science supreme if I use relative science to corroborate supreme science. But I'm using relative science or material science so that our minds which is vibrating in material consciousness can understand as a crutch the supreme science. So the Mahabharata, I am stating, is history. It is also, how many of you understand law? What is decided cases in law? Robin, you understand what is a decided case in law? Jay?
Ones that have been tried and tested.
Tried and tested. Okay, so a decided case in law is that which have been tried and tested. Alright? Then, when a judge has to make a judgment, he will make it on the prescription of the decided case. All of you understand? So the supreme law, the supreme science, Sanatana Dharma is not a religion. Sanatana Dharma is supreme science. Every science must have a law. Every science must have a law. Look for mysticism. Alright? Every science must have a law. The law must be clear. The law must be clear. It must be practical. It must be practical and it must be tangible. What tangible means? Again, Jay?
You be able to see logic.
Logic, it must be within your grasp. You must be able to allow your mind to see the result thereof. So absolute science must be practical. Your mind must be able to measure it and to find a solution. What is mysticism?
It's the belief that union with or absorption into the deity or the absolute, or the spiritual apprehension of knowledge inaccessible to the intellect may be attained through contemplation and self-surrender.
Okay, the word contemplation. What does contemplation mean?
Understand.
It allows you to understand. Who to understand? The human to understand. Who contemplates? Is contemplation absolute?
No.
And this is why we do not accept mysticism. Because mysticism allows you to contemplate. So 10 people contemplating will get 10 different results. If there's 10 results to one subject matter, can it be absolute? Are you understanding? So Sanatana Dharma is absolute science, and this absolute science is found in a system called Vedanta. This absolute science of Sanatana Dharma is found in a system called Vedanta. What does Vedanta mean? End of knowledge. Vedanta means end of knowledge. It means that after your material knowledge is over, after you are sick and tired of materialism, now you want to complete all your knowledge in this universe, then you come to an institution of Vedanta. Like if you want to complete your knowledge in science, where will you complete your knowledge in science? In a primary school, high school, or university? So the university will be your end of knowledge in science. similarly, to end all knowledge, both ordinary material knowledge and spiritual knowledge, you will have to end your spiritual knowledge in a system called Vedanta, which ultimately means end of knowledge. Okay? Are you clear so far? Now, the knowledge in Vedanta is not contemplated by the human factor. The knowledge of Vedanta is the essence of the Supreme Being. Knowledge of Vedanta is the essence of the Supreme Being. What does essence mean? Yeah, it's inherent in the Supreme Being. This knowledge is a mode of the Supreme Being. It is inherent in the Supreme Being. And in this knowledge of Vedanta, there are three streams of knowledge that will give you the absolute science of this universe. The absolute science of this universe, there's three streams of knowledge, three authorized streams of knowledge. One is the Vedas, is the complete set of the Vedas, and the Vedas are broken up into 4 segments called the Samhitas, the Brahmanas, the Aryanakas, and the Upanishads. Samhitas, Brahmanas are the ritualistic portion of the Vedas. Primary school, high school. Primary school, high school, they teach you how to worship God. In fact, not teach, they entice you how to learn to worship. Ritualistic worship is enticement how to practice worship. Enticement how to practice worship. This you will find in the Brahmanas and the Samhitas. Then the Aryanakas will lead you into an understanding, a higher understanding, and it takes you to the Upanishads, and the Upanishads is the absolute science of Sanatana Dharma. The Upanishads are the absolute science of Sanatana Dharma. So you started with practicals and you moved up to abstract understanding. Upanishads is abstract understanding. Ritualistic worship is practicals. Don't we do this in science, in a lab? We take a whole lot of chemicals, we practice with it practically to find an abstract solution, don't we? So similarly, if man, where do you think man got this understanding of material science? How do you think material scientists came to this understanding to perfect practicalism, to get an abstract answer? I'll leave you with the question. We'll answer it at the end of this discourse. So, the 4 Vedas are authorized scriptures. The Vedanta Sutra, authorized scriptures, and the Bhagavad Gita, authorized scriptures. 4 Vedas, Vedanta Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita. If a guru does not explain Sanatana Dharma through authorized scriptures, then he is a mystic. Then he is a mystic and he is contemplating on his own. He is contemplating on his own. A single entity, a single human entity. Is a guru a human, subhuman, or superior to a human? Sita? No, a guru is a human. All gurus are human. All gurus are imperfect. All gurus are imperfect. Why? Why? Because the human body is imperfect. The guru, it's only when God descends on this earth, he wears a body of Suddha Sattva. He wears a body of Suddha Sattva, and that body is not made of these 5 elements. God's body is spirit all the time. Suddha Sattva is spirit all the time. Guru is wearing a material body. And as long as Guru is wearing a material body, he is imperfect. Does it matter whether a Guru is perfect or imperfect? Okay? You have a maths teacher. You have a maths teacher. He comes to school. He breaks down mathematics in the simplest form, so that it can be assimilated by everyone in his class. He caters for the lowest of the lowest that understands. Okay? And at 3:30 you find him in the, you'll see his car outside the pub. At 7:30 you'll see him wobbling out of the pub. How's it? He's a perfect maths teacher, but an imperfect human being. Does it matter what you go to school for? Robin? To learn maths. And if he's teaching you mathematics perfectly, does it matter what his human condition is? And this is where Sanatan Dharmas and our followers, they keep looking at the Guru. They keep looking at his past. They keep looking at his present. And instead of taking that perfect knowledge from the Guru, they mess up their own minds by looking at the Guru's character. Don't look at a Guru's character. You do not have a right to look at the Guru's character. You have a right to the knowledge of the Guru. You understand? And this is where the greatest mess up in Sanatana Dharma is. This man can't be a Guru. 15 years ago I saw him whacking the hell of somebody. How can he become a Guru? You understand? So understand the concepts first in Sanatana Dharma, and whatever I'm stating is within the parameters of the supreme law. So don't look for a perfect Guru. Look for perfect knowledge. Because if you saw that maths teacher wobbling out every day out of the classroom, and if you didn't go and educate yourself, who will be a fool or who will be deprived of mathematics? You. He goes to school every day. He is the greatest mathematician. Which teachers in school allowed you to assimilate a subject matter the most? All of you all have been to school? Anyone in the satsang who has not been to school? All been to school. Let's be practical. Let's understand what there's a moral behind everything a guru states. So understand why I'm saying this. Which were the best teachers in school? Jay?
The ones you could interact with.
Yes. Those teachers that came, suit, tie, prim, proper, militant. They did the work on the chalkboard. They confused themselves. Remember? They took the duster, wiped it, and got another answer again. These militant teachers. They couldn't teach themselves through the militancy and arrogance. They couldn't teach their class. Then you'll get these humble teachers that will saunter in the classroom. The class is rowdy. They won't smack the hell out of you. They'll appeal to you, class, please keep quiet, I'm trying to teach a lesson. And through their humility, how much did you learn? How much did you learn through the humility of those teachers? And we called these teachers when we were in school, Jay, hey, this teacher is like a farmer. We liked these arrogant teachers because they came in nice cars, they were polished. Isn't? They whacked our knuckles. We were there during corporal punishment. I think these lighties, you all went to school, you all could tell the teacher what to do, isn't? In our times, we caught it for everything, both at school and at home. Okay? So, these humble teachers, disheveled looking teachers, Jay, remember? Sometimes the path was half here and then half here. Sometimes they wore 2 different color socks. You remember? But their knowledge was perfect. And when we had to write our exam, we took the examples that they taught us. Simple, humble example. And we would pass through our papers. You remember? Shanti? Your school? Came. And Shanti? Yeah, remember. Is it practical? What I'm telling you, is it practical or not? This is Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma must be practical. But because these teachers were so humble, we tended to disrespect them in their humility. And we would give more respect and more esteem to those teachers that were hard, where we couldn't interact. We were afraid of them. And this is what's happening in the Guru system. So 1,000 people have passed through my system already because of my humility. To be a Vaishnavite, the first quality is humility. To be a Vaishnavite, you have to be absolutely humble. And people tell me, when new people come, let them wait for 10 weeks before you talk to them. I have not agreed to that concept. Because if I do not talk to them in the first week or the first day or the second day, they might not understand from which direction I am discussing. Okay? If I didn't take you in my kutir on the first couple of days, then this discourse was strange to you, isn't it? And it's coming from a direction which you might not understand. But when you understood the Guru, then you can understand his teachings. So most of the time, when the devotees get used to the Guru, then they forget His speciality is the lessons that he teaches. His speciality is the lessons that he teaches. And this is a common problem in Sanatan Dharma. They like those gurus who is inaccessible. It is this type of mystic gurus go around the world. And Kali Yuga is a curtain of illusion by its very nature. And in Kali Yuga there are more mystical gurus than Vaishnavite gurus. Because if here I advertised yoga institute, Sri Narayan Dham, Institute of Yoga and Meditation, how many people you think would have been? We would have had to expand side and back. We will open your third eye for 1,000 rand. We will open your third eye for 1,000 rand. How many people you think from Reservoir would have come? I would have had queues. I would have had I would have had Chris as a car guard telling them there's already 50 cars in, you must park on the road. Alright? You understand? Because this is material consciousness, this is what the mind wants. The mind always expects God to be something very far away and mystical. Okay? They do not understand that closer to you, closer than your friends, closer than your parents, the closest thing to you is God Himself. Because we're looking for God there. And God is here. Closest to you is God. But Sanatan Dharma has a way of explaining this through absolute science. And God is the source of all sciences. Supreme means no one higher. So if you have, all sciences have to have a source, does it not? So if God is supreme and all sciences emanate from God, then who should be the supreme scientist? NASA or God? Robin? NASA or God? Who should be the supreme scientist? Why? Because He is the source of all sciences. So we are understanding now that to understand supreme science, you can only find it through Vedanta. And Vedanta is the institution of supreme science, which means end of knowledge. If a guru is not giving you supreme science through Vedanta, then is he a scientist or is he a bogus scientist? Logic. If a mathematician is not teaching you maths from the syllabus of maths, if you learn maths, is there a category in maths? Are there categories in maths? Categories? Algebra, geometry, trigonometry, calculus, mathematics. So if a teacher steals some of these formulas and he tells you that this is from me, must you trust him? Because mathematics has its source. And what do you think? Where is the source of all mathematics? Will it be found in the Vedas? Mathematics is found in the Vedas. Mathematics is found in the Vedas. The speed of light is found in the speed of sound is found in the politics is found in the astronomy is found in the. So God left nothing for contemplation. God left nothing for contemplation. Let's look now, Jay. Let's create a scenario, alright? All the information you need to make a product, if it is there existing already, is it necessary for you to go on one side and mix products so that you can make a particular product? If, okay, Bhabhi, you bake? You bake. So how do you bake? What's the first step? No, even before your ingredients. Yeah, then you'll find a recipe. Is it necessary to take 1,000 ingredients and mix and mix and mix until you reach that recipe? Or is it common sense and logical that the recipe to bake a cake is already there? All I have to do is download this recipe. It takes a few seconds. Coconut cake, go on Google, coconut cake. Zup, 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 and it's cake. Isn't it? So who's more intelligent? Bhabhi or Hemita? Hemita is busy in this other room. Flour, vanilla essence, eggs, duck's eggs. She came and stole my turkey eggs in her bag. She's busy trying to bake a cake and put all together. And Bhabhi there just downloads the recipe and bakes a cake. Who is more intelligent? Hemita is quantum and Bhabhi is accepting the recipe. She's surrendering to the recipe. She has full faith in that recipe. If she put that quantity, that quantity, that quantity, mix it up together and put that in the oven for 35 minutes, alright? If she's not watching too much TV and forget, exactly on 45 minutes she leaves her favorite soapy aside. Soapy and cake baking is not a good idea simultaneously, alright? Then what will happen? She'll get the perfect cake. Similarly, scientists, instead of taking the Vedas as a source, using the recipes of the Vedas as a source, what are scientists doing? Bhabhi, what are scientists doing? They mixing and matching and mixing and matching and contemplating. Maths was already there. Astrology was already there. I explained in the last discourse that when in the Mahabharata itself, Sanjaya wanted to know how the globe looked. from the top, it was stated 2 people leaves, one below the other, and a rabbit. And when you turn it upside down, it's the map of the world. And Mahabharata happened when? 5,000 years ago. Did we have all this Hiffler and Tuffler and Tefler telescopes? All this infrared imaging did we have? How did they see the map of the world? And it's in my, you're on Facebook, you all must join last week's discourse. I sent that map, which Lord Sri Ramanuj, he drew the map of the rabbit and the 2 people leaves, and he turned it around and it became the map of the world. Alright? And I'm taking you slowly. I was supposed to do creation, but I have to give a background, and I'm always going back to these backgrounds so that you can understand the basics. And I want to do creation step by step. I want to start creation and do it step by step. But for me to do creation step by step, I had to play the Vishnu SAHASRANAMAM. If you go and understand the Vishnu SAHASRANAMAM, then you'll understand that everything in the universe is within Lord Vishnu. Okay? And it doesn't matter which devotee you are. If you're a Lord Shiva devotee, if you're a Hanuman devotee, if you're a Ram devotee, if you're a Krishna devotee, all this does not matter. All this does not matter because you breathe in oxygen, you breathe out carbon dioxide. Whether you're a Ram devotee, you don't breathe in Ram oxygen, you don't breathe in Shiva oxygen, you don't breathe in Hanuman oxygen. What oxygen you breathe in? Pure oxygen. Because I'm teaching pure science. I'm not teaching how to love a particular God. It's up to you which God you love. I'm teaching you absolute science. Absolute science means water is broken up into 2 components called hydrogen and
oxygen.
Oxygen. Can you find a Ram hydrogen and oxygen? You can't. I'm just giving you an example. But you'll find hydrogen, you'll find oxygen, and I'm teaching Sanatan Dharma. Alright? So let's go back to the Mahabharata. Mahabharata took place 5,000 years ago, and I said we'll use material science as a crutch. So archaeologists are scientists? Scientists? Okay. People that dive deep into the ocean, what they are called? Sita? And do research under the sea, what they are called? Sorry? Marine biologists? Okay. They are also scientists? Modern scientists? Yes. So India wanted to clean up the ocean. Have you been to India? Some of you been to India? Alright. Shanti, you went to India? You think the ocean needs cleaning? Okay. So they sent up a team to clean up the oceans about just over 15, 20 years ago. Alright. And this team found a city underwater. And when we look at the Mahabharata, Lord Sri Krishna, before he left back to Vaikunth, he sank his entire city of Dwarika. That story is there in the Mahabharata. The location is in the Mahabharata, and this location where the city is found under the sea is also in Mahabharata. The artifacts that were brought up for carbon dating, is carbon dating modern science? Modern science. Modern science found that the artifacts that were used in this city is greater than 9,000-10,000 years. Does it fit in with logic? Does it fit in with logic that this city was inhabited long before 5,000 years? Is it logical? If Lord Sri Krishna was down, he left 5,000 years ago, then he would have to come into a pre-existing domain. So if this carbon dating is showing in excess of 5,000, right up to 10, I think even 15,000 years, then did the Mahabharata happen or not? This is why, Jay, I told you it is history. So let's say the Mahabharata happened. In the Mahabharata, Yudhishthira, one of the characters in the Mahabharata, asked Lord Sri Krishna that in this coming age of Kali Yuga, what will be the best method to navigate for the human kind, the human species? Remember, there's 8.4 million species, all right? The human species is one species with 400,000 levels of consciousness. So he asked Lord Sri Krishna what would be the optimum way out in this Kali Yuga. And Lord Sri Krishna referred him to grandfather Bhishma, because grandfather Bhishma was self-realized and God-realized, and Father Bhishma was sleeping on a bed of arrows. And when Yudhishthira asked him which is the best way to navigate through Kali Yuga, the answer was chant or hear the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. Now this is a verdict injunction. The supreme law states that in Satyug, the mode of communication to God is meditation. In Satyug, mode of communication or linking or union in God is through meditation. In Treta Yuga, it is through gorgeous rituals and worship. Remember, the word sacrifice has been misinterpreted from Sanskrit to English. Sacrifice in reality means worship. Okay? In reality it means worship. Don't go in the back, take one of my goats and alright? It simply means worship. Okay? In Dwapara Yuga, the mode of worship is deity worship. And in Kali Yuga, the mode of worship is San Kirtana Yajna. And I gave this example many years ago in a hall in Phoenix. I want to give it again today. Alright? What four communication you know of? Telegraph, fax, email, and WhatsApp. I think WhatsApp is It's more prevalent than emails now. Huh? Okay. So we have 4 seasons. We have 4 seasons in this universe called Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. So God prescribed, it's a Vedic injunction, that to make union with Him in each of these seasons a prescription. So in Satyug, He said, you can send me a telegram. Telegram is called meditation. In Treta Yuga, He said, you must do gorgeous rituals and worship. So He said, send me a fax. Alright? In Satyug, the directive was send me a telegram. Satyug, send me a telegram. So if you send a telegram by, what God must have on His side? An apparatus to receive the telegram. We use in logic now, right? And common sense. Then in Treta Yuga, He said, send me a fax. So you send a fax here, what God must have in His office? Fax machine. Then in Dwapara Yuga, He said, send me a, okay, God said, drop me a mail. Not send. God said, Jay, drop me a mail. Huh? So what He must have on His end? A computer. And He must have enough data, otherwise you drop your mail, He won't be able to receive it. Okay. Then in Kali Yuga, He said, send me a WhatsApp. All of you understand it. It's a Vedic injunction. Vedic injunction means it is a supreme law. It is a supreme law. How do you give judgment on a supreme law, Jay? By a decided case. Is there a decided case for the supreme law for Kali Yuga? Yes, because God came and enacted the Vedas, and when Yudhishthira asked God, Lord Sri Krishna, what is the best remedy for Kali Yuga, then what did God do? He referred him to His greatest disciple, who was both self-realized and God-realized, and that disciple informed Yudhishthira that you must listen to Sankirtana Yajna, which is your WhatsApp. Now let us see what we are doing today and the great confusion in Sanatan Dharma. If a guru is teaching you meditation, is he within the parameters of Sanatan Dharma? Huh? No. Because he's in the wrong season. Now it's winter. And he's asking you to wear bikinis. Do you understand? Meditation is for Satyug. Because why? It is a Vedic injunction. Who makes the supreme law? Lord Himself. Lord is the essence of supreme law. Then He compiles the supreme law in the Vedas. He Himself compiles it. Then He Himself comes down and enacts the supreme law. Who enacts it? God. Can anything be more absolute? Being the essence of a subject, being the compiler of a subject, and being the enactor of a subject. Can anything be more absolute? And this is why you don't follow gurus who do not follow God. This is why you don't follow a guru who do not follow God. Because when this guru dies, what will happen to his following? It will disintegrate. No guru must declare himself to be God. And no guru must declare himself to be the ultimate knowledge. God has already provided the ultimate knowledge. It's in the Vedas since time immemorial. Can you take a Toyota part? Who got a Mercedes Benz? Okay, Jay. Alright? And who got a Toyota here? Any Toyotas? Okay, no. Who got a Sentra? Sita. Jay, if your starter backs up, what starter are you going to use? Can you, Sita got a spare Sentra starter in a boot, can you use it? This is what these gurus are doing who do not work with the manufacturers. They're confusing human kind. They're confusing human kind. If a guru do not belong to the book, then he cannot teach you anything substantive. Anything substantive. The guru must, if God wanted a guru to write a book, then God would have allowed humans to write the Vedas. Are you understanding, Jay? You buy? If God is the essence of the Vedas, if he incarnated and compiled the Vedas, then he came down and he enacted the Vedas. He left no room for contemplation and mysticism. Are you understanding? This is now absolute science. And absolute science, 1 + 1 must equal to 2. And you must be able to say it to your audience. You must be able to show your disciples that 1 + 1 is equal to 2. No mystery. God is not mysterious. It is these mystics that's making God mysterious. Okay? So let's see, and this is why I said, don't forget, it doesn't matter who you follow. Okay? Who heard the Bhagavad Gita when it was spoken? You read the Bhagavad Gita? You? From which guru? Swami Prabhupada. Okay, you read the, who was Lord Sri Krishna speaking to? Arjuna. Okay. So Arjuna is his disciple, he is speaking the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Sanjaya is describing this conversation to Dhritarashtra, but from far away, because God gave him divine vision. You watch cricket? Love cricket? No. Soccer? What's your favorite sport? What you watch? What can you watch that's happening in real time somewhere else? News? News. Alright? So you have divine vision by virtue of TV and satellite, that the news broadcast, if you're watching e-news, it will be from Cape Town, and if you're watching SABC, it will be from Joburg, but where are you watching it? At home in your lounge. So this fight of Kurukshetra was a few far away from Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra, but Dhritarashtra could watch it without a television. He had divine vision. If you can watch a mechanical a material broadcast in your lounge, then imagine how much more your divine vision can show. You understand? Who else was listening? On that chariot there was a flag. Shanti, who was on top of the flag? On that chariot was a flag. Who was on top of the flag? Who is Hanuman Baba? Who is Lord Hanuman?
The greatest devotee of Lord Ram.
He is the purest devotee of Lord Ram, incarnation of which entity? You know it, you got the answer. Your brother? Yeah. Hanuman? No, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva. Isn't Lord Shiva there's 11 Rudra incarnations? Alright? So Lord Shiva was present, Lord Narayan was present when the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. But then the Shiva devotees will say, I don't believe in the Bhagavad Gita. Why will they say that? Because they have no knowledge of what the Guru is giving. Do you understand? So before you debate, you must have knowledge. You must not debate through emotion. You must debate through knowledge. And that is the job of a Guru. The job of a Guru is to give you knowledge. So Lord Shiva himself was present when the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. So you think it is necessary for us to fight who is more supreme, or is it necessary for us to use the knowledge so that we can navigate through this distressing time period that we are involved in? So we'll come to creation, but I'm going to end it like a soapy. I'll end it like a J soapy. Okay, I even have J soapy. There's a pun behind J and soapy. Alright, J? Only you and I? No, okay? And maybe Vishwadam. But now he's so engrossed in business, he might not pick up this pun. Alright? He's only seen $1 million. He got a dollar sign in his eyes and brains. Alright? So just soapy J is going to end in a sus pen, so that I get you all back here next week. Okay? So what is matter, J? And what is spirit?
It is tangle, feel, touch.
You, what is spirit?
Energy.
What type of energy?
Consciousness.
Ah, beauty. Brand new, only third satsang. Alright? So, you need spirit to move matter. You need spirit to move matter. And this is where material science is stuck. Material science is stuck now. Okay, let's use a practical example. How many of you watched our disciple? Lizwe is a disciple. Alright? Lizwe, who's now plastering the Taj Mahal on the side. You saw the Taj Mahal design? That's Lizwe, is a disciple. He's part of this institution. How many of you saw him plastering when you all came in? What ingredients had to be used in the plaster? Sand, cement and water. So we got a truckload of sand. How many of you came up the driveway? Okay, when you're going up again, you look on your far side, you'll see that sand is there. Alright? How many of you know Varsity Hardware? Spencer Road? There's a hardware there. The cement came from there. And you also my tap in the back. Okay, when you're going out, the water is in that tap. So these three ingredients is required for creation of cement. Alright. So my sand is on top, cement is in the hardware. All these three were brought and placed here at the ashram. Now if Lisware went and looked at these three elements, would it mix itself? No. What does it tell you about matter?
Nothing will happen to it.
If spirit do not interact with matter, nothing can happen. If spirit do not interact with matter, nothing can interact with it. If you take a beaker with a certain chemical and you take a beaker with another chemical, and if spirit do not mix the chemicals, there will be no interaction. So for creation, if there is no spirit in creation, they cannot have creation. And this is where material scientists are lost, because they are not taking the spirit factor when they're trying to understand this universe. They are not taking the spirit factor when they're trying to understand how creation happens. So I'm going to take you through creation, step by step from the next discourse, because I wanted this discourse to be, Kamita, who's transcribing?
Yatin.
Yatin. So this will be creation 1, background. This discourse will be creation 1, background. Because I want you to understand the background, and this is for this information. I am 57. I don't know how long I'll be around, but I am storing this information in the universe through the various technology systems that we have, and somebody 30 years later might want to know how God created this universe. So he might go in Google. By then maybe Google would have recognized us, because once Google recognizes you, then if you type creation, then Google will direct them to us, alright? I don't know whether we're there or not, our technology, your man, alright? Maybe he can tell us. So when you type in creation, these discourses is going to assist you. Then also scientists. If scientists want to come out of the illusion and follow creation through the way we are explaining, then they can become expert in the interaction of the various elements and create a better model for humankind to understand creation. If God has described creation in the Vedas, it means it is a guru's duty to take that description of creation from the Vedas and give it to mankind. Okay? Because I came into spirituality from atheism. Standard 8, as soon as I took up S7, I decided there was no God. You understand? When I went into physics and chemistry, I decided there was no God. And the whole world has went that way, isn't it? Then I had to find out the very hard way that there is a God. And this is beneficial for you, because I'm not giving you a discourse through emotion. Am I giving you a discourse through emotion because I'm ecstatic I know God, or did I scientifically find God? Because in Kali Yuga and in this modern world of technology and education, people want to come to know God through science, little realizing that God is the supreme scientist or the source of all science itself. Okay? And then I want to show you, especially your brother, this is Lord Sri Ramanuj on my left. Okay? Can you see him? His body can be found in Sri Rangam temple in South India. Right? And when all of you leave here, do it as a project. Go on the internet and you'll find that his body is still there. He existed 1,000 years ago. He existed here 1,000 years ago. Alright? I am calling him the supreme scientist. I am calling him the supreme scientist. I am calling God the source of all sciences. If I call him the supreme scientist, what am I saying in effect? What am I telling you? That the information he put together is absolute science. The information that he put together 1,000 years ago is absolute science, and I'm calling him the supreme scientist. Okay? Then I want you to go and research, because you must be like Hemita. Alright? You must be like Hemita. She engages. Although she transcribes, she do all my discourse, you'll expect her to be on the Guru side. She goes on the opposite side and she goes and engages these discourses. You think it's the right way? Yes, it's for inquiring minds. So when she engages me, how many thousand people you think benefits from her engagement? And if you engage me, and if someone engage me, Jay, how many thousand? These discourses reach between 40 and 50,000 people. This discourse of today will reach between 40 and 50,000 people. Alright, under 24 hours. As soon as it's posted, we have a following of that amount. Okay? So, when Hemita asks difficult questions, then I am happy to answer them, so that this 40 or 50,000 people, and later, when the world becomes aware of these discourses, they're going to come back. And then these discourses will be rotating in the millions. You understand? Amita, how many pages this discourse will be to transcribe?
About 9 pages.
This discourse that I gave today is 9 A4 pages. Both sides or one side?
One side.
One side. You understand? So it takes how long to read? Between 12 and 17 minutes. I see them writing how long it takes to read, alright? So these discourses you can watch and you can also read. You can quickly save it or copy and paste and read it somewhere. So you can save your data, or if you're on Wi-Fi, you can watch it. It's up to you. But we're doing a lot of work, because how long it takes you, Amita?
About 8 hours?
It takes 8 hours. Then we got Vishwadhar in Joburg. Vishwadhar Ramanuj. He's in Joburg. It's his day to transcribe. So he's a very sharp guy. He's a very astute guy, Jay. Yes. So he found a way, as I'm talking, he found a program how to learn to type fast. So when I finished this discourse, he would have typed 80% or 90%. And then he calls it cleaning up. So when I phone him, now immediately, after this event is over, then he'll tell me, Acharya ji, give me about 2 hours, then I'll post it. I just got some cleaning up to do. Alright? So this is the amount of work we are spending to send this information out. I'm not interested in older people getting this information. I want the younger generation, 20s, 30s, because you can tangibly use this information. Older people are bent in a way. When Robin goes home, he'll say, what that Guru spoke about. I am a Ram Bhakt, and nobody can move Ram out of my heart. I'll die following Lord Ram. You understand? But the younger generation will look at the tangibility to shift focus and understand the different categories and the different president, vice president, ministers, what you call this? Hierarchy. Robin got no time for hierarchy. Robin, you got time for hierarchy. What the Guru said, I don't care. As long as I sat, I listened to him blabbing for 1.5 hours. Now it's time to go home. God must see for me. Oops. I came to Satsang. God must see for me. Robin? Right? But these younger people go home now. From the car they'll start the debate. Right? Then they'll go home, then the two gurus, the wife, they'll download, they'll say, yeah, this guru is right. And the guru will say, no, my guru is right. And the two gurus will start fighting. All this will happen today. Right? Then they'll come to an understanding, no man. This guru, what he said makes sense. Alright? Then when you use this information, that means God saw for you. Using this information, Robin, means God saw for you. Coming and wasting your time, sitting here for 2 hours and going back home, God don't care. God don't care. How we know that? Robin? How do we know that? Because God states it in chapter 4, verse 38. Chapter 4, verse 38, he states that listening to transcendental discourses will burn away your maya of karmas. Listening to transcendental discourses will burn away your maya of karmas. So if you sit here and don't hear, no karma burned, God not interested. Logic? Jai Shri.
Jai Shri.